Other interesting political news, you have Trump saying that the Pelosi should be prosecuted for her husband's Visa stock sale. Now, this comes after Pelosi, her husband, interestingly enough, he sold about $500,000 in Visa, and a couple of weeks later, yeah, it turns out the Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against the company, which, of course, is negative news. It's going to, I mean, just the news is negative, but it also has implications. Maybe they're going to decrease the size, the scope, and scale of Visa, which, of course, naturally causes stock to dip and go down. But that didn't affect the Pelosi's because they sold their stock well before that. Now, this comes thanks to the New York Post, specifically Victoria Nava, who's right over there, which they say, quote, Trump calls for Nancy Pelosi to be prosecuted over her husband's $500,000 Visa stock trade. Oh, geez. I'm sorry, I should put up a warning on the screen. If you're watching on the good old Rumble, or unfortunately on the YouTube, you'll see a picture of Nancy Pelosi and her husband, and it is quite scary to say the least. Should put a visual disclaimer. I apologize for that. Perhaps this is one of the good episodes thankfully you're tuning in on an audio podcast like Spotify or Apple Podcast or what have you. But there you do have the picture of the Pelosi family. Now, they say, quote, former President Donald Trump said that he believes Representative Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted over her husband's stock trade ahead of the Department of Justice lawsuit against the credit card giant. He said, quote, Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold her Visa stock. They had a lot of stock. Actually, this is Trump speaking. I'm sorry. Let me get my Trump accent going. It might be the worst of all time in terms of the accent that you've heard. Oh, that's not what Trump would say. He'd probably say something of effect of, Topping has the best impression of me. Obviously, he suits up as all men should. Now, when it comes to the New York Post, here's the quote. Nancy Pelosi has a little bit of a problem because her husband sold the Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before it was announced that Visa was going to be sued by the Department of Justice. Unquote. Perhaps the best, or more likely statistically the worst Trump impression you heard all year. Let me in the comments your thoughts, yay or nay. Now, it looks like, yeah, they sold, geez Louise, 2,000 shares of Visa stock on July 1st, thanks to a financial disclosure. We all know that. They say that's less than 3 months after the massive transaction. Visa was hit with the DOJ antitrust lawsuit. Now, yeah, Trump 78 suggests that Nancy was aware of the looming lawsuit and tipped off Paul before Jeff saw it, which, yeah, I can't help but think, what's the probability of that? I'm not saying it's 100%. Just saying if I were a gambling man, I'd place some money on that. Now, he says, quote, think of that, Nancy Pelosi sold stocks at Visa one day before the big lawsuit, and we all read about it a couple days ago. You think that was luck? I don't. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that, which, I mean, she should, but there's no law against it right now. Keep in mind, Republicans and Democrats, they could fix this problem years ago, but partially because they probably both benefit from that, there's no law. Now, to the credit of AOC and Matt Gaetz, who, I mean, comes to AOC, there's not much policies I do agree with, but those offices did actually come together to put a proposal together to actually make it illegal for all inside trading for politicians and their direct spouses. Fortunately, kind of like, them in politics wanting to vote to decrease their salaries, didn't really go anywhere, but there are a couple people who appear to want to fix the problem. But overwhelming most people in politics, they don't want to stop that spigot of money. I mean, just look at how much they're paid. Again, their salary's already ridiculous, 1 to 6 figures, and they got all the benefits. But look how much they're worth, like, within a couple of years. And it's a lot of it is from stock. Now, her husband is also a hedge fund investor, but, I mean, he's not... They're more successful in many ways than Warren Buffett, but I don't think they're a better investor than Warren Buffett. Now, they also say that, a spokesperson for the Pelosi's did not immediately respond for comment. And, of course, as soon as the DOJ antitrust lawsuit was announced, shares of Visa... Wow, they crashed 5.5%. Ouch. That hurt a lot of the investors. Again, none of this is financial advice. Although, shoot, I wish I invested years ago. Just copy what Pelosi does. Which there's a whole subreddit, a whole group of people who actually just copy her stock sales because, again, historically speaking, it's been a pretty lucrative thing to do. Now, let's see here. They, Pelosi's or spokesperson for Nancy did say that, I love how they say Speaker Pelosi, or quote, Speaker Pelosi does not own any stocks and she has no prior knowledge or subsequent involvement in any transactions. Yeah, we know, because it is technically illegal for the individual representative government employee. They don't have the stocks. That's true. Her husband, that she spends the majority of her life with, he is the one making these. And again, they're not alone. There are Republicans who do this as well. It's ridiculous. They do it at both sides of the aisle, which I'm pretty skeptical in terms of I don't think this actually, and at the end of the day, ever actually be resolved. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's, in terms of, political optics and moves on the political chessboard, I think it's good for Trump to do this, because I think a lot of average Americans are just fed up with this. They see it's unfair. They're struggling just to make ends meet, and they see that politicians manipulating the market, changing laws, and buying stock, when it's most advantageous, as well as selling stocks when it's most advantageous to them. And I mean, when's the last time you heard a politician losing money on stocks? I'm not saying it never happened, but I can't help but think the frequency is quite low. So, I mean, I think maybe this will help Trump get some more political points and get some more support. But yeah, let's just say I'm not too optimistic that there's going to be any real changes in politics. But let me know. Do you think they'll ever actually be able to be stopped or halted from insider trading at all? And do you think they should have the ability to choose to buy some stocks directly or with their family or spouse? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.